Hello, everyday leaders. This is Melahni Ake, and it is Saturday. It is February the 27th. And today I woke up and realized that just 1 year ago today, we were having the second annual Everyday Leaders 50 and 50 Leadership Summit here in Indianapolis. And
Wow.
oh my goodness, what has changed? Consistency is a big deal. Consistency is a big deal in my life, and I have been doing things consistently every day. Many of you know that have been following me since March 2017. I've been teaching the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, part of my John Maxwell certification training. And today we were having a live think tank event for people that were joining for the International Maxwell certification that kicks off next week. So I've been doing part of that this morning. And then also the Bible study, we've been consistent every single morning since October 1st, 2019. So 514 days today was, I think. Yeah. And that's crazy because what I've learned is consistency brings clarity that brings the confidence that you have in your life. And so as I've been on my journey, you guys have all been so gracious to follow me and give me feedback on what you want to see. And the leaders that you've connected me to and that I found through my journey are incredible. And today is one of those days. I have a young lady here that my heart immediately when we met, I said, I need to share your journey because there are many people that you're going to be helping in your life. And so I'm just so proud and honored to have Sparkle LIndsay with us today. And I'm going to unmute your mic. We may have a little bit of feedback, so we may want to kind of check that. But Sparkle, thank you so much for joining us today and just sharing your journey with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. How you doing, Melanie? Good morning. Or I guess good afternoon for you, right?
Yeah. It's just 12:30, so it's, just a little bit and you're in Mountain Time, so where are you calling in from?
Oh, I'm calling in from Colorado Springs, Colorado today.
Ah, a beautiful place. It's funny, sometimes you realize that you don't know a whole lot of people in certain states, and then all of the sudden that changes, and this is what
Right.
Colorado I've like, everybody is in Colorado now.
Oh, it's the hit place to be right now, you know?
It is. Have you been there forever, Sparkle, or did you grow up there?
Yes, I'm a 36-year native of Denver, Colorado. Yes, I just currently moved to Colorado Springs, but I have always been, my heart is here in Colorado for sure.
Well, um, I have lots of plans to get out there, so you're one of the people I'll put on my list when we get
I
out
look forward to it, I'll tell you that.
there. Come visit, I'm telling you. We connected on LinkedIn, and I've
Mhm.
got just a little bit of feedback on there. Do you have headphones on? Do you have
I
headphones?
do not. Want me to grab them?
I think so. I'm gonna just I don't want there to be feedback on your end or on that, so I'm gonna just, keep going here.
Okay, hold on.
What's important about today's interview is, as you guys get to know Sparkle, we're across all the YouTube channels and LinkedIn, Facebook on the Everyday Leaders group, and also the Facebook pages that I have set up. And I want you to go to Sparkle Lindsay's Instagram and her YouTube page that I'm going to put up here. But I wanted to get her to really help people understand her journey today because it's amazing. And when we connected, she was telling me all about her, the things that she's connected to now and how she wants to really pour into others and into the world. And there are a lot of people in my life that I know that she is going to be powerfully connected to. So let's check this there. I think that's a little bit better.
Is that a little better?
Yes, it's great. I just wanted to make sure people could hear you without feedback.
Sounds good.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much. So Lindsay, so talk to us a little bit about I know, when I titled this recovery coach, because I know that's where your heart is right now. And I love to take people through the interview process, to get to know you and celebrate you as an everyday leader. because there are a lot of people right now, especially through what we've experienced in the last year, that are struggling with all kinds of substance abuse, addiction, so many things in their life that they don't feel like they can have the confidence to get a handle on. And so, share with us your journey and what your passion is, what you're doing to kind of step into your own voice right now.
Well, I am in recovery right now. I'm a recovering alcoholic addict of a year and 9 months. And for me, I really had to just give up everything in order to get back to the basics for myself, you know? And so I went into treatment. I kind of went on ahead, turned down a promotion. I worked for three big box companies for about 13 years, and I had a lot of trauma that happened during that time, and I got really sick with lupus, and I started, having to use a form of chemo, which was methotrexate. And from there, I really started drinking a lot, drinking, using, doing a lot of partying. And I just knew there was a point where it was starting to go downhill big time and quickly. And from then on, I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go on ahead, take my life back. I went to treatment at Peaks Recovery, and then from there, I went to Springs Recovery Connection to start my journey as a recovery coach. Now, a recovery coach is not a therapist, so I'm not a therapist, but I do have a lot of lived experience in my journey for alcohol and addiction. And also, as far as me, I didn't really know what it was about. So when I got to Springs Recovery, I actually was like, I get to call people and give them telephone recovery support and talk to them about their addiction. This is unreal. I get to call and just talk. This is great. All I like to do is talk. No. So,
Sometimes that's what somebody needs, right? That's all we need sometimes, is to know that somebody is on the other side listening, and that we
yes.
can share our voice, because that's one of the strategies, right? Just having someone to reflect into and talk through something with, to say it's okay.
Yes. And I think the big piece was is I got on the phone with them, and a lot of times they'd be like, "You're an alcoholic too?" And I'm like, "I sure am." So I took it to the next level with Springs Recovery Connection. Kathy Plush, the owner of that nonprofit organization, gave me an opportunity to just create and invent. And before you know it, we were recovery coaching through the hospitals, recovery coaching through the jails. And I was able to be a part of all of that. So I then became nationally certified. I took classes, and here I am now, 27 recoveries later, and leading the charge of this thing called recovery in alcohol and addiction. And it has been a wonderful journey for me, walking alongside others, but mainly I have found myself in it. I've been evolving, and it's been amazing.
So, what do you think is the biggest thing? And I know this is probably different for everybody, but kind of the thing that you believed about yourself before you committed to recovery.
Oh, well, I knew that um, I believed what I intended to be was not the three big box companies for the rest of my life. And I knew that there was something greater for me. I just felt it in my heart. And for the first time, I took a chance on my heart, and I jumped in full for me. And I knew then I could just feel that was my belief in myself, knowing that I had been an athlete in the past, went to college, played basketball, retaught myself to walk. I knew that this probably was going to be one of the hardest journeys I would ever have, but I am knee deep in it, and I love every bit of it. And I've taken it on. That challenge is what I look forward to.
Oh, girl, no, we have to talk about challenge.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm ready.
So, Sparkle, when we connected, I said, "Oh, I want you to go through the why process," because I knew so much of her story was, why do you do what you do? And so many people would say, well, it's because I have a heart for it, because I want to make a difference. Well, we took we took Sparkle's why. She did. She took the assessment. And I want to share this with everybody because this is so exciting.
So cool.
So I'm gonna so let me get to the all of these whys. And I'm gonna put these on here because there are 9. And of the 9 whys, if you took your why, you could end up in one of these categories. And this is an assessment with about 15,000 questions. And it's an algorithm.
Mhm.
So what it does is it lets you answer a question based on your heart, and then it puts you through the process to ask another question and another question. So if you've taken Myers-Briggs or Colby or Strength Finders or Enneagram or any of those things, you would know kind of what your personality is.
Mhm.
This really helps you start to define why you do what you do. And so the development of this is through the Y Institute, and I absolutely believe in it because it has absolutely changed the way that I have communicated things in my life. And it has just been like a light bulb that won't go off.
Yeah.
So, for all my clients, for anybody that I am working with, especially on this live program, I love to offer this as something that we walk through together because when you are passionate about showing up authentically and saying, I am all in, I am 100% in my life, this really helps you define what you say and how you say it. And it gives you the confidence and that clarity to really play big time in life. So Sparkle, thank you for taking this. Oh, Mike, yes, Mike Qualls is here to connect to you, Sparkle. So I will connect you two. You guys really need to share the journey together. He is also recovering. So yeah,
Good. Hi, Mike. How you doing? Can't wait to connect with you.
he is awesome. Um, so these 9 whys. So if you take this algorithm, you could have contribute, which is to really show up and add value. Now that's what the thing that I've talked about that I've thought I was all these years in companies in corporate America, and just, my heart was to show up for people. Um, but it wasn't. But I'll tell you later. uh, Trust, right? Trust is really about establishing trust in relationships. And if somebody breaks that trust, it's devastating for the people that have the why of trust. So it's important to know, right? The who you're working with. The make sense of things. This is Mike. Mike just signed on here. He is make sense, which means he wants to put things in order. He sees things and he wants to make sure that he can make sense of the order of things. So that'll be a great conversation for you two to have, Sparkle. Um, Find a better way and share it. So this is a lot of people's why. They wanna, they're innovators. They look at something and they say, "Okay, I like what that is, but I think it can be better." So if you're a person that is always trying to figure out things and say, "Okay, this is a great system, however, I wanna innovate off of that," right? You're not creating new ways, it's just a new way to use what's already there. Um, do things the right way. Now, these are people that there is a process to everything. It's not necessarily their process over somebody else's. It's just that there are instructions on how to get something done. And so that's the way they believe the world works is by those instructions. And then I'm going to skip over the next one. Mastery is another one. Mastery is someone that really dives into multiple topics and researches like Consumer Reports. Think of that as the mastery type personality that really just dives in, to the ninth level and wants to know and curious about everything. Um, then there's Clarify and Simplify, and these are great because Clarify is the person that asks lots of questions. If you ask them if they want to go to a movie, they're going to ask you 16 other questions about what time, what do we need to wear, what are we going to eat before, where are we going afterwards. That's that Clarify why. And then the simplify is just people that want things simple. They want to have consistency in their life. They want to maybe have 2 colors of clothes in their wardrobe. They may only wear red and black only. And so, or they have 3 things in their apartment, right, in their living room because they just want things simple. They order ham and turkey because they want to keep things simple in their life. And so those are kind of the personalities. Now Sparkle and I are the Y of challenge.
Yes, we are.
So, challenge is to think differently and challenge the status quo. Now, this is different than all the other whys, and, this is so interesting because when I think of you as a recovery coach and when you came back and said, "I'm a challenge," I'm like, "Yes!" Because here's why, Sparkle. This says the characteristics, you don't believe in following the rules or drawing inside the lines. You want things to be fun and exciting. You
Hmm.
want to be a rebel against the classic way of doing things. You have an eccentric friends, you have an eccentric taste, you don't wanna be normal, you wanna think differently, and you wanna challenge people that are too conventional to be
Yeah.
able to be something bigger, right? And so being this recovery coach, thinking about your life and saying, "I don't want this anymore. I don't wanna do this way anymore. There is something greater for me." That is because if you are feeling this way too, you might have the why of challenge.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, right? But thing is, so sometimes and I wanna ask you specifically about this because of this why, there are a lot of times where we might show up in circles and we feel like we're not included or that we're not doing things the same way that everybody else is. We don't think the same way. And so maybe that causes you a little bit of stress, right? And then say, "I need an escape because I'm not feeling like I'm included or part of the group." Whereas if you shift your conversation and you shift that narrative about your why and say, "Wow, I can really challenge things in my life to be better and bigger and bolder. I can develop a client base that I challenge them to go way outside of the lines than their comfort zone and really show up in the world to make an impact." And so that's where, like, all of these things are great, and when you start to unpeel those layers, you start to say, "Okay, this is how I can show up and use this for my own life and really show up with power and confidence." So, what surprised you, Sparkle, when you learned your why?
Well, I thought I was a contribute too. And I was like, "Oh, wow, these questions are hitting the heart." And when it popped up challenge, I was like, now that I've been hearing the questions, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. I am that person, I always have been that person that's kind of, I feel like uh, I see something and I just visualize something better or greater. So I love to I learned the recovery coaching, right? And then next thing I remember coming to Kathy Plush and I was like, there's so many things we can do with this.
Mhm.
This is going to be amazing. And at one point, some people were looking at me like, look, just take the calls. Just do the telephone recovery support, Sparkle. Why do you have to take it to the next level, and I was like, but it's gonna work. And
Right.
and it is. I've learned the art of recovery coaching. I am so passionate about learning it, but I just like to add so much more to it. And
Mm.
so a lot of it is about multiple pathways to recovery, right? Well, there's so many resources for people to get help out there, and so many resources for people to call, get some support. But the main thing I noticed for me was I had to stop thinking about what everybody else was thinking and start focusing on what I needed to do for me. And that right there shows the willingness of a why,
Mm.
because most people are afraid to dig deep and say, you know what? I can focus on me and I'm going to make this happen. Most people want to do what everybody else wants to do, but I'm not that person. And I knew that. And now I have taken that by storm. And that's where the evolving and finding out who I am has really helped me in my recovery coaching and being able to meet people where they're at.
What a great lesson. I know so many of those things that you say, we talk about that every single day and we go, now listen, if we could just practice that, right? The application is the piece that consistency is going to make a big difference in your life if you can believe that your gift is bigger than your fear.
Yes.
And that's where, and you say recovery, but many people, even if they're not recovering from the same things that you are, they are still recovering from fear. They're recovering from maybe an abusive relationship. Maybe they're recovering from, not feeling value in their life. And
Mhm.
so all of these things, like when we understand why we exist, and so as not a contributor, right? So we contribute, but why we do it is because we want to challenge the status quo. So when you talked earlier about designing all of these different layers of a program because
Mhm.
you wanted to dive into it and take it big, it's, the better way why would say, well, it was already there and I'm going to recraft it. You said this doesn't exist yet, but I know it can work.
Right.
That's your why. That's your gift. So if you can stay focused on that and really helping people kind of build out their own recovery, that's going to give you the power, right? That's going to give you the power to show up and do amazing things and make a huge impact in this world.
And I think that's what really turned me on about the why and the everyday leaders is that once again, my mind got going and I was like, whew, I talk about the legs to the table and finding the support you need to be successful in any element, right? But what
Yes.
if you could find within the legs of your table your purpose through your why? And
Ugh.
right then and there, I just got chills. I said, I got to call Melanie. I got to tell her I got to do this because I feel like this is the ultimate way for somebody to find success before they even really start, because they start to know who they are so that what becomes their impact, like we talked about, right? But
Mhm.
if you don't know where you're going and you don't know why you do the things you do, it's really hard to get started. And so I think for me, it's just exciting. I can't wait to run it with by a lot of the clients I have. And I know they're probably like, well, what's my why? And I just can't wait. And like I said, I think it's not even just so much about recovery, being an alcoholic addict, but it's all walks of life. All of us have something that we're addicted to or something that we need help with. And for me, it has just been a blessing to have so much lived experience in so many areas that my why definitely contributes to all of that. And it is the reason why I have challenged and walked over some things and had to be who I intend to be and what I deserve to be. And I feel like being able to tell people that and challenge them and have them have the belief in themselves to do it, whatever why they may be, really brings some power behind it. So it was a great assessment.
Well, and I can't wait because March 7th, I've invited you to the next class, which is putting our how and our what together, like our purpose statement of how we're using and living our why. And I think that is so critical. And so many people, would say, well, I show up because I have kids or, because there's a bigger meaning for my family that I'm trying to be purposeful in my job. But
Right,
that's really not what this is about. This is about making an impact in the world. And so that's something that you just kind of are born with. That's your purpose that you gotta connect to, and it's like a puzzle. I say so many times, it's this purpose puzzle that, is just gotta put it together, and you gotta start with this why, and then those behavior models that maybe you're a strength finders, and you're a learner, or you're an achiever, or, some of those things that you start to realize, "That's how I behave because I
hmm
show up like this," and so putting that together I think is really, really critical for people, and especially building a business or just having, the right relationships in your life, your right inner circle to build
right. And
around
I
you.
I love how you say the term puzzle because I know during our conversation, I talked a lot about finding where people fit in their own puzzle. This is a huge portion of that because, like you said, the how and the whats and the whys and figuring those out. When you finally figure out where you fit in your puzzle, it's explosive. It is so empowering, and I'm finding this in myself. All these little pieces, I'm like, oh, this goes right here, and this goes right here. Just rebuilding and rejuvenating myself into somebody that I want to be and I deserve to be. So I love the word puzzle. That's my word, girl.
Well, and for people that are just kind of watching this, remember we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn right now, and Facebook. So if you're watching this, if you have a question for Lindsay, I know Mike has been on here. He said he could not wait to hear about your journey. Can you take us back to maybe one of your darkest times that made you feel like there was no hope? And what happened? What was the thing that just made you say, I am worth it to keep
Mm.
going?
I think probably the biggest piece that I had was when I was told that I was going to be unable to walk again or ever play basketball again. I was only 21 at the time, but I didn't realize how much of effect that was having on me throughout the rest of my life. I've never cried about it, and I told the doctors I was going to walk again. Obviously, there's my challenge, right? And I told the doctors I'm going to walk again, and you know what? I am going to play another year of college ball. And I remember being in the hospital room with my grandmother actually, and the doctors were real somber and sad. And I remember calling my dad and just saying, I don't know what's going to happen, And I just remember my dad saying, we believe in our God. We just take it to the next level and we allow things to happen. And from then on, I just remember I said I'm gonna walk again. And so I did all kinds of stuff. They were catching me upstairs, and then I couldn't get down the stairs, obviously. And then and then before you know it, I started playing intramural ball, and I literally we ended up winning the championship for the intramural ball and basketball. And then before you know it, I said, "No, I'm going to play." So I played another year and a half, another 2 years of college ball for Colorado Mesa University. And God, it was the most empowering feeling I'd ever felt. But I had not cried that whole entire time. I pummeled through it, right? So here we go, 15 years later, 34 years old, and all of that I had suppressed,
Mm.
and all of that I had been drinking. I didn't realize that I was sad about that stuff. It still it was a shock, and that was trauma that I had never really recognized or revisited. I just put it away, and I drank, and I really didn't start drinking until about 25 or 26. But the big piece is that all of that was sitting there, and although we're strong, I'm a strong woman, strong Black woman, I really am. But ultimately, I still had to be able to revisit the things that were bothering me. And I wanted to suppress those emotions. So as soon as I went into treatment, we revisited all of that. And I hadn't cried in 13 years. So you can only imagine what was coming out of this. I thought I had another autoimmune condition. I was crying so hard, it's
Wow.
so long. But that's what kind of helped me crawl out of it once I got into it. I was like, all this stuff I've been holding on to and thinking I'm strong enough and I got it, But I finally had the courage to change the things I can and say, I need help. I need some freaking help here. And
Mhm.
everybody I've ever known, they just answered. My prayers were answered. And that's why I'm sitting here today. People said, "Nuh-uh, you asked for it, you got it." So it's just a blessing to take down that ego and actually start to know that pride is okay. But you know what? Together, we're so strong. And so becoming that Black woman that's strong, I also found that there was a lot of people around that made me a woman of many strengths. And that was it was amazing. That's where I'm at now.
Well, I just put in the chat here and I'm going to share it because if you need to get a hold of Lindsay right now, if you're going through a difficult time and you're in recovery, this girl is going to bring it and keep you accountable. I want to put this. She is on YouTube. First of all, Sparkle, the light at the end of the tunnel. Instagram, Sparkle Lindsay, and her email is sparklelindsay2@gmail.com. So now your social media stuff's gonna blow up. However, I really think that you have the journey, right? So many of us say, if there's a coach out there that we need, it's because they've gone through something that we are yet to go through. We don't know how to handle it, and we may be afraid, but we need somebody that can take our hand and say, "I've been there. I got you. We're gonna get through this." And so I celebrate you because I know this is not easy. For
No,
people that maybe have not recognized that they're suppressing this and that they really need someone else that can say, "Look, you've been through it again and again and again, and don't give up on yourself because this time may be the time that you're ready to go and break through and just make this really your own accountability for that next phase in your life."
definitely. I encourage anybody that is just wants someone to talk to, want somebody that can hear their story. I'm here to listen. I think one of the greatest blessings is being able to deep listen to people and actually give people belief and inspiration. So for me, it's like whatever lived experience I have, you got questions, I probably got them for you. And how I overcame those things and how I've learned to make them a part of me and help me embrace myself, embrace the many things I do great, the many things I don't do great, which is cool because it's all me, right? And I just want to say, anybody that's out there, I know a lot of times, even dealing with mental health and so forth, it's not always easy. But the ultimate thing is that if we're trying, if we're taking that step, and we just take that one step, and maybe we take back a little bit, but we go back a little bit further, even if we keep moving forward together, and I'm allowed to walk alongside you, or you find someone that can. I really, really encourage that, because we can't do it alone. And I don't believe anybody should have to go through anything alone. So yes, I'm available.
Well, that's so cool. I want to put a comment up here where you were talking. I shared it. D Workout says she truly is an inspiration and gives new meaning to how alcohol addictions and trauma can be approached and managed successfully. Keep it up, Sparkle. You are needed in this world. And
Oh,
that
thank
is
you.
awesome. Thank you so much, D. That's
Thanks, Dee.
awesome. And Mike says, I believe we have a lot to talk about. So,
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Mike.
yeah. And sometimes it's family and friends. I want you to talk about this real quick, if you will. So many people think that the people that surround us every single day, our friends, our family, our church members, those are the ones that can guide us. Those are the ones that are going to tell us what's right and wrong. And I want just for you to share from your experience, how that affected you. And then again, about beliefs, right? Because a lot of people say, well, those are the only people that can tell me the right thing to do.
Mhm. Well, my family, we're a very, very strong. We're a very strong family. The Lindsays, we go back way far. I'm the oldest of five, and so when I was going through this journey, my brothers and my sister, they were worried for me. They were worried. They were scared. My dad, my mom, they were scared for me. But one thing they never did is they never gave up on me. They told me, Sparkle, whatever you got to do. I remember my dad saying, if you got to make a shirt that puts a S on your chest for sober, you need to make that shirt. And I remember him saying that, and I never forget it. But I remember when I decided to take my life back, I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm getting ready to tell everybody my story. And I'm going to let people know that I had my family backing me, my family understanding it, and also them willing to actually go the extra mile to say, Sparkle, what can we do to help? And so I hear from them every day, and it makes me feel really, really accomplished, because I mean, my dad said it last year. This time, he didn't think I was going to be alive, or 2 years from ago, last time, he didn't think I was going to be alive, and that's really deep. That is really deep for your family to say that. But he also, every day that I look in his eyes, every time I see him, he's seeing my light, and he's starting to see that I'm coming back to me, and I feel like, although my family had to go through a lot with me, they also have totally been watching me move forward, and they are my energy source. They're my power. Um, Now I will say that I gained a greater family, even bigger family, my sober warriors out there. I got lots of people who are in recovery, and they call me every day, and we just have so much fun being sober and learning how to live life again, letting life live us. Have friends from Utah all the way to or Orlando, and hear from them, and we really talk about how empowering it has been to take our lives back. So I have just been incorporating and getting a bigger and bigger family as we go, which is infectious, and it feels so good. But it definitely started with started with my family, and I know they're always there no matter what happens. So it
Yes.
feels good to know that. And I
And
encourage people too to talk with their families about their addiction. I think one of the biggest pieces is that sometimes when we are in addiction and we're in recovery, families don't always know what we're going through. The mind of an alcoholic addict is so complex. And so sometimes as family members, it's okay. Ask the alcoholic addict, like, hey, what is going on here? Or what did you mean by this? Or why are you acting this way? That way we can kind of tell you, like, when I say I'm craving, Dad, that means that's a good thing. That means I'm opening up to you and telling you, I want to drink today.
Mhm.
If I don't tell you, then be worried about it. And I remember letting him know that. And he's like, well, we're growing. This is great. This is good stuff.
But, Sparkle, the authenticity behind that, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people going through it are shameful because, well, nobody around me is doing this. And so your why of challenge helped you get through this, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you said, "This is something that I know that I wanna be different. I wanna show up differently." Somebody with a different why, right? With maybe a right way that says, "Well, these are the steps, and I didn't do it the right way again," and so they may be really hard on themselves to say, "I'm not able to follow those steps. I'm a failure." And so those are the kinds of things that you as a challenge, being a recovery coach, it's so awesome because we're walking through this whole process to identify all these other whys. And so you're gonna be so powerful as a coach to
It's going to be exciting. I'm like,
recognize this. I'm
yes.
so excited for you.
And the reason why is because I think, like, I have a few people in my head now, and I'm like, oh yes, they're why. And then on top of that, listen to me, I'm already going, but on top of that, I'm thinking, like, man, how all of this is going to slide together, and they're going to become their complete recovery package. See, the ultimate piece to this is being able to find where you fit in your puzzle, but become that person that can have those multiple pathways to recovery any way you want and kill it. Okay, take it to the next level, and make sure that you want that. We when we make our own plans for what we want in our lives, we write our own list down. We basically are the key to our success. But the difference is we got to start somewhere. And I think starting with the whys and knowing what you are is really going to be a big impact. So, I'm already like, let me call you guys. They're like, it's a Saturday. Take it down. Take it down, Sparkle. Take it down. But we could, no, Sparkle. Take it down.
I know. But you know what? That's the thing. When it fills your heart, when you know your purpose and you have so much passion around it, it's like you can't wake up fast enough to help people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can ask a lot of my friends, I'll call and say, about 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm sending my inspirational quotes. They're like, so did you sleep or were you? I was like, no. So think about this though. We gotta do you want to do this? You want to try it? I just love that I have this second chance to be able to wake up, be sober, look at the mountains and drink my favorite coffee. I had never ever embraced that more now till knowing that I'm sober and the little things. The little things mean so much to me, but it is so cool to be able to call someone and they say, "Hey, Sparkle, you want to go work out?" Because they're reinventing their routine too. So I don't ever feel alone. Sometimes I have to shut it down a little bit and kind of be alone just because of the gift of being and so forth. But I just know this is going to be an amazing, amazing journey. I mean, it feels like I'm stepping into my power even more than I have. And I am just so blessed to have so many people behind me with it.
Mhm. This is so awesome. I want you to just answer one more question. I know we've been on here for a while, but I want you because you're in this space, right?
Mhm.
And so for people, and that's why I asked you about your family. And your mom did say hello. She said, "Love you, Sparkle. Keep moving forward."
Hey, mama.
So it's so great to have you here, Carla. And then Jason, real quick, said, "The
Hey,
impact
Jay.
Sparkle is making in this world is inspiring." So, hey, Jason. Um,
Hey, Jason.
for people that don't yet have a network,
Mhm.
right? That's where I really wanted you to speak into the ones that are, going through processes, maybe living with people that they don't know. They're in a recovery home, they're going through a rehab center. They don't have that support system around them, you
Mhm.
know, and having the doubts and the fears in their own mind that, is it worth it? Can I get through it? What would you give them as far as advice today? Just, I know that it's worth it on the other side. It's just, how do you keep yourself going when you're the only one that's really in your corner right now?
You know, I just real quickly a story. When I got out of treatment, uh, I left Peaks Recovery, Serenity Peaks, and I was in there sober living. And I will never forget in the sober living that night, my really good friend, she was still in treatment at the time. I was sitting there on the bed and I was so lonely. I like, I looked like I lost my puppy, like literally 34 years old. And I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm out of treatment. What do I do? The only other thought that came to my mind, and I know that this is what comes in a lot of people's minds, is, well, why don't I go back to what I'm used to? Immediately, the habit went. I went there. Like, maybe I'll go ahead and go grab some alcohol, because now I'm in the real world. Can't nobody tell me nothing. But there was a part of me that said, there are people who are way younger than me who go through this, and they're worth it. So you know what? I'm going to become a recovery coach so that before they even get out of treatment, or before they even get out of jail, or before they even get out of the hospital, I'm going to bridge the gap and be that aftercare so that I can help them start gaining the supports. And that's the legs to the table, and a big portion of those legs to the table is your base. You know, are we able to discuss with people who are in treatment their base before they get out into the real world? And so if you're somebody who's in sober living right now, you need to go ahead, call somebody. You can call me, ask me, Sparkle, do I have the legs to my table? Do I have the supports? Do I have the community? We all have to build these things, but it's a practice. It's a coping mechanism that we do so that it gives us a reason to push forward. So if you don't have those supports, or you don't know how to find those supports, I'm the resource guru for that reason. And, Springs Recovery Connection, resource gurus for that reason. So ultimately, we're able to help you have so many resources to give you the legs to your table and continue moving forward. But there are things that help you out there. And when you feel like you're at your lowest, just call someone and have a good conversation with them. Talk, laugh, do whatever you got to do. And also, be a better you for you, meaning work on the coping mechanisms that can help you go through it. Simple things like playing the tape through, asking yourself these questions. A lot of this is involved in my workshop and my seminar. Playing the tape through, asking yourself, what happened to you last year this time? Maybe that's what's helping you crave. But ultimately, you got to have a base, and that base has to start with those supports. And also, when you start to reinvent your routine, when you start to add things in like working out, self care, doing things special for you, it ultimately helps you start to reinvent and rejuvenate yourself. But it takes time. And so when you have a coach that can walk alongside you, I mean, I have a wonderful coach. He walks alongside me every chance he gets because I'm calling him all the time. But I feel like he cares about me because of that. And so he can recharge me. He can take me from, oh, I don't know about today, or I'm having fears of today, to let's do this, right? And so that's what we need sometimes, is just that extra charge that says we're on the right track. Don't give up now. Don't stop now because you're just getting started, right?
That's right. Oh, thank you for just sharing your heart about that, because I know that there are so many people that may listen to this if they're not on today that really need to hear that. Uh, it- we can't give up on ourselves, right? The
Yeah.
journey is too precious. We were built and designed on purpose, and we need to find that. We need to connect to it so that we can understand what our value is. And sometimes those fears, those addictions of all things in our life, it could be the cell phone, right? I get charged all the time from my family. That cell phone is an addiction to you.
Yeah.
It's because I want to connect, right? I want to challenge things. I want to challenge everybody that calls me.
Yeah.
You can do better than that. And so, but that's really right. We have to understand and be aware of those things that are kind of drawing us out in our lives so that we can get better. So if we become aware, we commit to what it's going to take to then improve in those areas, that will make a huge difference. And surrounding yourself with the right people, and my gosh, get a process in place. And
Yes,
like,
and on top of that, ask for help. I guess for me the biggest piece is that we always, even, like I said, I was sitting in that sober living like, this is rough. But what I did do is I did call and say, hey, I want to help other people do this. And because I asked for help to Chris Burns from Serenity Peaks, I ended up running into Kathy Plush from Springs Recovery, where I could help. So just asking for that simple help has pushed me right into my career, into my purpose. So if I would have never asked or never said anything, and I tried to take it all on myself, could have been a different day. It could have been a different night that night. I could have relapsed, but instead I said, how can I make this impactful for myself? How can I make this impactful for others? And all I had to do was take down my pride and my ego and say, I need some help. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Oh, that's so nice, Quinn. Quinn says, "Sparkle, you're amazing. I wish my cousin had another chance to have met you."
Oh, thank you, Quinn. Oh,
Wow. You have absolutely just moved so many people on here
yeah,
today.
that just
You
gave me chills.
I know, and so that's why you're here, because somebody does need to hear this today, and somebody needs to know that they are enough, not to give up, and especially if they're transitioning, trying to do it on their own, don't do it on your own. Call and reach out. And I'm gonna put this on here again
Got some
because
little tears there. Whoops.
I know, I know.
Crying is good. It makes the body sweating. No.
Yes. So if you need to reach out to Sparkle, go to her YouTube channel, or here's all of her connections. You can go to Sparkle Lindsay with an A, number 2 at gmail.com. So if you're listening to this on a podcast later, you can find her at Sparkle Lindsay, SparkleLindsay on Instagram. She is on Sparkle Lindsay on LinkedIn, and on YouTube, Sparkle the Light at the End of the Tunnel. So connect to this woman. She is powerful. She is going to just explode. She wants to help people. And especially if you're recovering, this is the woman that you need in your life to help you get stronger.
Yes, I want to explode. I think I've already exploded. Exploded with all kinds of tears. No.
Oh my goodness. Well, girl, I love you. I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your journey. I am excited to help you with the rest of
Yeah, I'm
your whole
pumped,
life
girl.
process and statement, because this is going to be amazing as you continue to step in and help people. And I know there's a few people on here that will be reaching out to you already.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited for what's to come, trust me.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and, will you please come back and share your journey, and anytime that you want as an everyday leader, you're always welcome to come and share what's happening next, any conferences that you have where people can connect to you, to
Oh,
learn
yeah.
more.
I will. I will definitely, and obviously, I'll be seeing you a lot more, so I'm excited about that.
It is gonna be fun, Sparkle. Have Thank you so much again for joining, and have a great day, and all this will be on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, and we will have an audio version as well of the Everyday Leaders 50 and 50. So please follow Sparkle Lindsay and give us feedback. If there's anything we can help you with, put it in the comments here anywhere you're watching, and we will absolutely get back with you. So, Sparkle, thank you. Have a wonderful day, my friend, and I will see you very soon.
You will. I'll see you.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Bye.